20 gameplay changes you'll find in Monster Hunter Wilds. This is from a Monster Hunter veteran from the PSP Monster Hunter 2 Freedom Unite days. I've dabbled a little bit in Monster Hunter World, but I didn't play it as much as I wanted. I've got 5 days to catch up and finish Ice, but I wanted to get a quick hype video out there because I love the week before a big launch on games. Everyone's just on YouTube watching videos and talking about it. Reddit's always going crazy. So this video is a combination of me waffling about all my Monster Hunter memories. I've combined it with ChatGPT to make it into a legible script in quote marks, and then I've also copy and pasted all the common Reddit threads and said compile this and let's just go through it and talk about it. This video was initially going to be a 20 tips and tricks, but it just turned into a gameplay changes over the years, so let's just crack on. I might sound old school for a lot of these, but some of the quality of life changes you get now are just absolutely amazing. It's what I always wanted as a kid when I was on holiday playing on my PSP, raging at the game. So number 1 is no more loading screens and no more separate loading zones. I want to paint the picture for you back in the day. You load up your PSP, you run to zone 8, and then you find a Tigrex and he smacks you as you're near the loading screen bit. He knocks you out into the previous zone, and whenever you run back in, he's there immediately and he keeps smacking you back and forth in between the zones. That used to be a thing. You don't have to watch a monster leave mid-fight and then just go through 10 loading screens chasing it across the map. People could also do this to zone in and out to cheese the really hard fights. Item management feels so much better in Monster Hunter Wilds, so let me talk you through some of the pain points I used to have. I used to get locked in animations, so let's say you're drinking a potion, you would get locked in place for 3 seconds, and if you timed it wrong, you'd have a big dragon fireball to the skull. Let's say you wanted to sharpen your weapon with a whetstone, it would lock you in place for 5 seconds while that Diablos just charges at you. And not only that, you could get interrupted. So let's say there's 10 baby raptors around you, they could literally interrupt you and you'd have to restart that 5-second channel over and over again. Inventory management is more chill. You don't have to take a map with you every single time, taking up inventory space. You don't need a pickaxe just to mine, or a bug net just to catch insects. While I was on about the whetstones as well, they're now infinite. You used to run out of sharpness, and if you didn't have whetstones or a mining pick to go get more whetstones, you were just screwed in that mission for the next 50 minutes. And then there's paintballs as well, so every 5 minutes or something, it felt like that anyway, you'd have to throw a paintball at a mob and then track it across the map, otherwise you'd just lose it and you'd run out of time. The send all items to the box or the storage exists. Back in the day you could just sell all. I can't get over that you can drink a potion and walk around and heal. Drink your cold drink and walk around. The crafting feels more intuitive, the inventory feels more fair. Just quality of life across the board. Everything I wanted as a kid has now manifested in the game, and now I can play co-op. It's just crazy. When I was younger, I didn't fully understand how to get the buffs and the food buffs from all the cats cooking in the kitchen. Now the buffs and the food things seem much easier to get. God, here's another story. I remember the first time I played Monster Hunter, it took me hours to get past the first quest because I couldn't cook the meat. Basically, you have to listen to the song, and then 2 seconds later, or some weird timing, you press X, and then it raises it in the end, you got a well done steak. I could not figure this out back in the day. It just didn't explain it to me very well, or I was too young to understand, but the fact that you don't have to do silly things like that anymore. I've not been listing the numbers, but we'll just say we're on number 6. So weapon swapping and carrying 2 weapons with you is the biggest thing, well, the second biggest thing to me in Monster Hunter Wilds. The first thing is the mount, and since the weapon swapping is on the mount, I'll just start waffling about these now. I've always wanted to have a bow and a greatsword, or a sword and shield and a hammer. Cool combinations like that, and now I can finally do it. As someone who's been playing Monster Hunter for 20 years, the fact that we can finally do this now is just amazing. Overall, I love the mobility and the verticality they've added to this game and this series. So from what I've seen, your mount is called a secret. It's like a raptory bird thing. I've seen it climb, it can fly, it can jump gaps. It's insane the mobility it's got. And then you can swap your weapons out while you're riding it, and you can do mounted attacks, and you can do dismount attacks by the look of it. Combine that with the slinger grapple hook thing you've got going on, and the ranged abilities combined with your melee abilities, it's just It's serving peak Monster Hunter. Like, they've just done what everyone that's ever played a Monster Hunter game back in the day has been craving for. All the quality of life things, they've just sorted out. Like, it just gets better and better. Let's talk about the weapon steering, the hitboxes, and the combos. So 7, 8, 9, we're around that number. The biggest thing I noticed when I played Monster Hunter Worlds was you could steer your attacks. Like, in the old school games, you are fully locked into that angle. You can't swerve. If you miss by like a thing, you can't do these micro corrections that you can do now. And then you've got more combos, so you can just keep being fluid and dynamic and like claim the space you want to land your next hit, blah, blah, blah. Don't even get me started on the hitboxes. Old school players, do you remember the hip check on the Plesioth, the big fish monster thing? That hip check would just hit you from the moon. It was insane. So the hitboxes are so much more friendlier now, and your weapon animations just, it's visceral, it's good. The combat is still fun and challenging, but they've just removed so much frustration. We'll go for number 9. You can accept and complete quests in the field, so you don't have to go back to the hub just wasting time anymore. Number 10, multiplayer is getting more and more seamless. If you ever played classic Monster Hunter on a PSP, you had to have like a cable, you had to be next to each other. It was a nightmare, especially as a kid on holiday. No chance, mate. Then when World came out, it was easier to connect with people. You could do it through Steam, but then it was hard to figure out. Like, it took a while before you could actually sync up with your mate, and then it was quite buggy. Overall, just improvements across the board. And then finally, I just want to drop some quick fire tips at the end, 11 to 20. So your radial menu lets you craft on the fly, so get used to that. Key quests are displayed, there's no more hunting blind. Weapon crafting trees are intuitive, you don't need a wiki to plan gear anymore. Armor crafting lets you see full set stats instead of clicking between tabs. The Smithy UI is finally usable, less spreadsheet simulator, more action. Material pouch is separate from consumables, way easier inventory management. You can eat at camp now if you forgot before the hunt. No more waiting for monsters to return to the battlefield, they actually stay in the fight. Dynamic environments mean bigger arenas, more verticality and better fights. And felines are back, the cats are back, nobody likes those shakalaka goblins. Overall, I'm excited to try all the new weapons. Leave a comment down below what weapons you're planning on using. I've always used the sword and shield, longsword, greatsword, hammer in the past, but the insect glaive is crazy. I like all these charged variations they've got now, so I can't wait to dig into all them. I find just chilling in the practice range in games dead fun, so as soon as Wilds drops, I'm going to spend an hour or two in there, play with all the weapons, and then we'll just go from there. And then here's a final compilation of tips. So flash pods still work, carry them for flying monsters. Status effects matter more than ever, poison, paralysis and blast are strong. Eat before every hunt, dodge more aggressively, bows are actually powerful now from all the buffs. Some monsters change elements mid-fight. Mounts let you attack, heal and reposition, so use them wisely. Boss fights feel more cinematic, and new monsters are insane. You've got an octopus squid boss that shoots loads of oil and fiery explosives by the looks of it. You've got a climbing, raging fire monkey, elemental chain dragon, and then finally, sort your life out before launch. You've got 5 days to prepare, so make sure your chores are done, make sure your real life quests are done, make sure you're up to date, everyone's happy, and then get some practicing on Monster Hunter World if you've got it. Finally, stay healthy, look after yourself, get decent sleep the night before, and then try and match your sleep schedule to launch. So for me, it launches at 5 AM in the UK, so I'm gonna get up early. Eat healthy, do a workout in between hunts, and listen to the Monster Hunter theme tune on repeat until then. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you're excited about for Monster Hunter Wilds. Finally, I made a game, it's called Battle Babes 1 and 2, depends what you want to play. It's basically a card battler, an incremental game, blackjack and match 3 all blended together. Play it if you want, there's a free version, there's a paid version. Love you all, hasta la vista, peace.